Hello and welcome back to the MMA Split Pick Show for one of the biggest cards of the year. UFC 285 is here. It is headlined by the return of Jon Jones after 3 years out, again, at heavyweight. That one's for the first time.
Yeah.
Taking on former interim champion and probably should be ranked number 2, but is probably ranked number 1 heavyweight in the world, Ciryl Gane, in a mouth-watering clash. We've also got a title co-main event. Valentina Shevchenko, who does love to fight on a Jon Jones card, defending her belt against the rising Alexa Grasso, who listeners of this podcast will know I'm a huge fan of. Plenty of other fun fights. We're here to discuss them. I am half of this podcast's hosting duo, Matt, joined by producer and host Josh. Back from the sickness.
Wow.
He did take part in last week's pick show via text message, but is here to deliver them in person, in studio, which is very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, I ask you this every time it's a pay-per-view. Rate your excitement level for this card.
This
1
was
to
a
10. You're
This
at full
was a
10.
This card runs pretty deep. I've been talking forever and a day about how I need to see Jones at heavyweight. Jones gone. It's not the one I wanted. I wanted Ngannou or Miocic, but
Miocic is going to be front and centre.
I assumed it was Stipe. I knew that they were trying to be mysterious about the backup fighter they had. I hope he gets paid for making weight. But, yeah, I didn't know for sure it was Stipe. I just assumed it was. Either way, he's not going to be needed, let's be honest.
But he will be in line for the winner.
Yeah, well, I mean, unless John just does too much coke this week, I don't think it's going to be a problem. Excuse me. But just going off your intro there, setting up your picks. So are you going Jones Grasso?
Well,
I think I'm getting off to an early lead.
you're getting off to a very quick start. Before we do any of that, like, subscribe to our
fucking
new
do it.
channel. We are moving across to the MMA Split podcast rather than being on the MMA Split. This channel will be eventually shut down in the next couple of weeks. I will put a note up with all the links of how to move across to our new home, which will be on YouTube, but will also be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. All of this hoopla is going to be eventually done in the next few weeks. We're going to be a lot more switched on with this kind of stuff. New relaunch of the channel is representing that. And only me, Josh and Kate so far have subscribed to the new channel. So please do move across. Leave your comments, particularly for the pick shows. We always love to see your picks and your predictions. Leave them for the main card to see if you can do better than us.
We're talking to you, Kenny.
Kenny, yes.
Put it out.
Thank you, Kenny, for your comments a couple of weeks ago on the Andrade Blanchfield pick show. Always nice to get some feedback, and hopefully you're watching again today. With all of that out the way, Josh. Jones versus Ciryl Gane. Obviously, I can sense where I think you might be going on this, but let's have a little discussion about the fight just overall first and foremost. How do you feel about Jones at heavyweight? How do you think that this all plays out? What do you think he needs to do? And what do you think Ciryl Gane needs to be aware of?
So I'm just going to preface this by saying, before we started recording, we were talking about the fight, and I was so emphatic in my choices that Matt was genuinely worried that I might sway his opinion there. So I like that you're throwing it over to me right away, because it makes me think that you've now prepared all the counters in your mind, and we're going to go split on this main event. So, one of the things we talked about was Jones's ferocity and his ability to land that oblique kick and the teep kicks, and just how much he can kind of swarm and smother guys. But frankly, it's been a long time since he fought a guy that had the same kind of range as him physically. He's never fought anyone as big as Gane. He's never fought anyone that hits as hard as Gane. And can he do these things at heavyweight? Because at 205, you're carrying a lot less weight, obviously. You know, you're still cutting down, so you're probably going to be 215, 220 in the cage at least. I think probably more like 225 for Jones as a light heavyweight. I assume he's going to be more in the 245 range for this fight. I don't know. Have you heard any kind of noise on his weight?
Nothing on the weight. The number that everyone's talked about him putting on was 30 pounds. But that's going back to like when he first said he was going up to heavyweight, during the process of moving up, during the initial contract talks, when it was discussing about him maybe fighting Miocic, when Miocic was still the champ. 30 pounds was the number that they kept talking about.
So it's probably talking
Put him about
245 to 255.
About 255, something around that. Assuming that he was walking around at about 230, 225.
Yeah,
for
so
light heavyweight.
is he still going to be able to move in the same way? Is Gane really going to be able to be available for the same shots? And is he going to be able to really take down Gane? Being a little slower than he's used to being, and fighting a guy that's going to be able to sprawl a little harder. Get his hips out a little further. Also, just kind of more than anything, I think John Jones has fought a lot of greats, but if you really look at it objectively, a good chunk of them are light heavyweights on the smaller side. Some of them are middleweight tweeners. Frankly, other than DC and Gustafsson and Teixeira, I can't really think of too many like bigger guys that he's fought. Reyes, which I think he probably lost that fight anyway, but even then, Reyes isn't like huge for light heavyweight. He's just a good size. He's a big guy.
Well,
I've been talking for a while.
No, well, I think just to try and break things down in a different way, it's a lot easier to know what Cyril Gane's bringing into this fight. He's been more active recently. He's just naturally been a heavyweight. It's all about that light movement, incredible speed for the weight division, great technical striking for the weight division, beautiful striking on the outside, the ability just to figure out and stay out of danger and outstrike and just outthink and outclass. In many ways, looking like a pro kickboxer in the heavyweight division in mixed martial arts against what we consider to be elite level heavyweights. Obviously, when he fought Francis Ngannou, it became very obvious that you can take this guy down. You can put him on his back. He's not overly experienced. And when you think he's had... What's he had? I think one fight since he lost the title fight to Francis Ngannou. And he's had 12 fights in his total career. So that was his 11th fight. And it was for the belt. And he'd barely been kickboxing for 3 years before he went into MMA. So incredible athlete. Huge learning curve. With John Jones, there's so many unknowns to this. And this is what makes this such a hard pick. Everyone talks about him, I think, during the time that you're referring to, which was a long time ago when he first became the light heavyweight champion.
Yeah. And
he did go on a kind of clear out. We've also seen periods, whether it's because he's not training or partying too much or had a period of time out, but when he came back against Oven St. Preux, did not look at his sharpest or his best.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination. When he had his layoff after the suspension after the second DC fight, he fought a Gustafsson that was kind of past his best, and he looked impressive, but then had 3 not overly impressive title defences, a couple of which are very suspect against Reyes and of course against Santos before then, that a lot of people think he lost. The situation against Anthony Smith, where he illegally kneed him in the head and could have lost his belt on disqualification, and arguably all 3 of those guys have not really proven to be elite number 1 contenders in the sense of, it's not like these guys took over the division.
I will give him that caveat, actually. Jones fights better when it's
against
a big fight.
Better opponent.
When he's hyped for it. God damn.
Oh, you've been doing so well.
Oh my lord. When he has a big opponent, almost as big as that sneeze, he does ball out. But I obviously motivation is an issue for this boy.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really surprise us.
Now, one of the issues that I think is very apparent, and a lot of John Jones' success at light heavyweight comes down to the fact that he has this tall, skinny frame. He didn't have to cut an insane amount of weight, but could have this incredible height, incredible reach, insane strength, even for his body frame, against these smaller guys. What then started happening is, partly because I think the sport catches up to you, and I think guys got bigger in their weight classes, and they've studied you and they know your style more. But some of these guys caught up, and I think he lost a little bit of the speed factor as well. When you look at the Santos fight, when you look at the Reyes fight in particular, it just kind of felt like they were just a little bit faster than him. The reactions were a little bit quicker.
He was getting countered in moments he used to dominate.
Yeah. Now, the whole reason I think he didn't move up to heavyweight for a long time is because he had these physical advantages and he had the speed. He realised after the Reyes fight that the speed might be overcompensating. And he probably looked at heavyweight and thought, these guys are slow enough that my loss of speed is overacted by moving into this division. He's also decided to put weight on, and I think this entire fight in many ways boils down to, is John Jones rusty? And is the power advantage that John Jones gets from his weight going to over or underbalance him compared to the lack of speed that division has? Do you see what I mean? Is he going to become slower than the division with the weight, or will the weight in a slower division still allow him to be as fast as he needs to be?
Yeah, because the stakes have gotten higher. The shots that he's going to eat have increased significantly.
Yeah. But, and this is the thing with Cyril Gane, I know that Cyril Gane is quick, but he's quick for the heavyweight division. And he's quick on his feet, but it's not like the hand speed is like rapid. And it's fast in relativeness to what we see him fight. I don't know if it's going to be that much quicker than what's coming at John Jones from a Dominic Reyes or a Santos. So I don't know if we're going to see the speed of Cyril Gane be as effective as it usually would be.
Yeah.
Against slower heavyweights.
Well, assuming that his reactions aren't dulled by the rust, I feel like John Jones is going to be able to see these things coming. I just don't think that with a heavier body in a live environment, he's going to be moving like his instincts think he will be moving.
Yeah.
Because I remember after my knees truly fucking went, just trying to play football and my body knowing that I can do this, that and the other, and then in reality just falling short on a broken body and just being too slow for it and just being like, oh shit, I need to practice being this fucking bad athletically because my instincts are all off. I don't know if John Jones really appreciates how different it's going to be. I know that he thinks he's got the better fucking sparring partners, he's got all the mean guys in the room, but you know, even when you're going live, you're not really going live in sparring, it's different. I think Gane's going to be a lot quicker than he appreciates, but more than anything, like, the stakes have never been higher. It's just going to take one moment really to not finish him, but to change the momentum of that round and really fuck him up. And if you know,
Gane's big as well, 6'5", 6'6". I mean, this will be the largest man comfortably that Jones has ever fought.
Yep.
You know what it came down to for me, and I'll say this now. My pick is John Jones, and I was undecided on this until about an hour before I came over to Josh's. It's two factors that decide this for me: fight IQ and viciousness. Cyril Gane is still new to MMA, and although he's picked it up very quickly, there's just these levels that John understands, these moments in fights that I feel like John Jones will be able to take advantage of, that Cyril Gane just, I don't think, has the experience yet in the sport to be able to see in the same way. The second one is viciousness. Cyril Gane is literally the Bon Gamin. He is the good guy. And I don't think he's ever fought somebody who's going to be quite as mean and nasty with the way in which he'll fight as Jones is. And it will be things like, you know, oblique stomps to the knee. It will also be things like accidental eye pokes, just to disrupt your rhythm. Just at that moment that you're starting to maybe get a little thing, just a little, you know, a sense of timing, and you're getting comfortable, you're starting to get the rhythm come in. Oh no, poke in the eye. Unlucky. Because he knows he'll get one or two. He knows he gets 1 or 2.
They're like picograms in that way.
Exactly. And I just think for John Jones to be the first guy that you fought that's going to come at you with those kind of tactics in a 5-round fight, when you as somebody like Cyril Gane doesn't necessarily have that one punch off switch, that might make John Jones a little bit more cautious. He's not going to want to be hit clean by Cyril Gane because he's a big guy, but it's not like he's fighting Ngannou and he's going to be thinking one right hand and I'm done. John's going to have the confidence of thinking, okay, when he's hitting me, there's going to be a lot of touching me up. But that also gives me an opportunity to get reads, to get my hands on him, and to grapple. And that's where I think he wins this.
Nice. I know I've made a strong case for Gane. Truth is, I think it's a very, very, very close fight. I had a hard time picking this one. At the end of the day, I feel like Jones is going to be a little slower than he anticipates, and he likes to fight from a short range because he is so aggressive. He's not going to like the way the counter shots come in. I'm kind of anticipating more of a Makhachev-Volkov kind of vibe to this one, you know? Eats a couple of tough shots and he's like, I'm going to smile, but fuck me. I'm going Gane, but, you know, by a counter.
Nice. Split straight from the off, but it's going to be a fantastic main event. History in the making either way. We either have a 2-time heavyweight champion, former light heavyweight champion in John Jones, or we have the first man to truly properly defeat John Jones. So I'm excited. Co-main event, not jumping off the page in the same way because it's Shevchenko, because we're used to seeing her dominate everyone. I really like this fight. As you know, I've been a huge Alexa Grasso fan. We did a whole discussion when we had our pick show on the Grasso versus Viviane Araújo card. And our big feeling was, can we see her show something in that fight that's going to make us think that she's Shevchenko ready? And when we ended up doing the breakdown on it, our conclusion was, really impressive performance in the fight, but there's nothing that we've seen that makes us think that she's ready for Shevchenko now. I wanted to see her fight Manon Fiora. I thought that would be a really good, how can I handle the kickboxing? Somebody that's going to have that level of kickboxing, but maybe not the wrestling coming in. And now she's getting the title shot. This is a really, really big step up. I don't.
And nonetheless, Matt is picking.
I'm not, man. I'm not. Here's my worry. Shevchenko's the better kickboxer. I think she's by far the stronger and more powerful athlete, and she's the better wrestler. I think Grasso's boxing, pure boxing, is better. I think she throws faster hands. I think she throws better combinations. I think in boxing range, I think she's better at being able to throw to the body, slip shots, come back with hooks, be aggressive. There's only one range that she can win in this fight, and every range closer and further away, she's going to be losing. And I don't know how, as a smaller, weaker, undersized athlete against Shevchenko, she's got a hope of being able to keep the fight in boxing range without getting clinched and taken down, or without getting pushed back and kicked. I love Grasso, but this is a step too far and too early, and I think this is a fairly comfortable title defense for Shevchenko. Really upsets me to say that. I don't think this is, like, when I see Blanchfield, when I see like Tyler Santos did, I just kind of feel like those are the guys, the girls that I think have the real genuine chance of upsetting Shevchenko. I don't think it's Grasso. I actually think she should try and find a way to go back to 115. I think if she could get the weight cut under management, I think she'd be fucking awesome at 115. She was awesome at 115.
Yeah.
And I think she's got more money now. Just get that nutritionist in. People are figuring it out. There's a way. You can do this. But you're not doing it tonight. It's Shevchenko.
That's a shame. I thought I was going to get a 2-0 lead earlier there.
Yep.
That's fine though. There's plenty of pick'ems left, so there's no way we're going similar tonight.
Right, next up, Jeff Neal takes on Shavkat Rakhmonov in our featured fight. This is a really fun fight, and as we were just talking in between cuts, every time we've picked Jeff Neal to win, he's lost, and every time we've thought that Jeff Neal was going to get quite soundly beaten, he's kind of found a way to turn it around. I didn't think he was going to beat Vicente Luque, and he beat him very impressively, finished him in a way I was not expecting. I don't think anybody's finished Vicente Luque like that before. The problem is, he's fighting Shavkat Rakhmonov, who is undefeated, scary as shit, and like a Dragon Ball Z character in his first form, we have not even seen his full power level yet. The way he beat Magny was effortless, man.
Yeah.
It was so effortless and so perfect that Gilbert Burns ended up beating him in pretty much exactly the same way a few months later. So, as Josh blows his nose.
Hey, I'm discreet.
I don't know what happens to Rakhmonov when he comes up against somebody as athletic as Jeff Neal if he can't take him and hold him down. Because Jeff's a good striker. He's a powerful striker. I think he probably hits harder than Rakhmonov. Rakhmonov's very technical, but he does seem to like space on the feet. He likes being at that range where he can throw spinning kicks, and then when he's inside, he likes to be all the way in. If Jeff Neal can get inside of that kicking range and hold off the clinch and land hooks and do damage, there is an avenue for him to be able to find a way to win this fight, but I can't pick him over Rakhmonov. Not a chance.
I just feel the second he starts moving forward, Rakhmonov's just going to take him down. And I haven't even considered the if he can't keep him down. I just think once Rakhmonov gets him down, he's keeping him down. That's it. It's done.
Neil Magny kept Jeff Neal against the cage for 3 rounds.
Yeah, although Magny is a fucking magician when it's up against the fence.
This is true.
And for a long skinny guy, it should work against him, but he just gets so fucking awkward that people can't deal with it. I don't know why I'm waxing lyrical on Magny now. I'm starting to be like going full in on Rakhmonov. Like Shavkat Rakhmonov, he is my fucking guy. Very behind him. Jeff Neal, always fun. I've got a lot of time for Jeff Neal.
Just not his day today on Saturday.
Yeah, this one's an easy pick. It's Rakhmonov all day.
Which takes us down to the fight that was originally going to be Dan Hooker versus Jalen Turner.
Yes.
Which, when that was booked, we all thought, well, certainly I thought, that's a rough fucking night for Dan Hooker.
We thought.
We thought. It is now, due to injury, and the fact that Drew Dober did not get listened to by the UFC in his desperate attempts to step in, which I still think would have been a pretty tough night to have to deal with against Jalen Turner. We now have Mateusz Gamrot, which I think is the best version that fight could have been all along.
Probably. I feel like this is a pick'em too, so I really, really am desperate to hear which way you're leaning.
So, I like Jalen Turner a lot.
Oh, no.
Really good submissions. Powerful striker. I think he's definitely the better athlete. But being tall against somebody like Gamrot, I think he's just going to be looking for them first right hand, 1-2 that comes through, and he's going to be looking to get on the inside, get on the leg.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard for Jalen Turner to secure the kind of lock and the kind of submissions he's going to want to against somebody who's as good in positional wrestling as Gamrot. And Gamrot has 2 losses, but one of them is Dariush, and Dariush is a fucking beast, and that was a really good fight. And he also broke his hand in that fight, so you never know how he could have maybe performed if that didn't happen. And the Guram Kutaladze fight, which a lot of people think he won, and he's gone toe to toe with Arman Sarukian, who is again absolutely elite in this level.
Probably the most underrated guy in the division.
This is a huge step up for Jalen Turner. Like, Jalen Turner has gone from a pretty decent style matchup for him to a potential Drew Dober, still a pretty decent style matchup for me, to the worst style matchup for me. Somebody that's just going to be looking to get underneath my long, lanky frame and test my wrestling. I'm picking Gamrot.
Yeah, I mean, look, Turner's always got that chance to stun Gamrot. He's got the longer frame. He is sharp. He is quick. He is big. But yeah, man, it just feels like this one's a really, really simple pick in terms of like how it would play out on paper. It's just that like risk factor of a guy that's 6'3". He's always going to be able to land at least one. And we fucking rate Jalen Turner. So I really, really thought I was going to get this one past you. I think it is a close fight. But if Gamrot can get 2 takedowns in separate rounds, you assume that's the fight right there. So, I mean...
It's just about, I think, experience as well. Like, we've seen Gamrot go up against other top 10 guys.
Yeah.
And even though he might not have won the fight against Dariush, he's so clearly on that level.
Also,
and we haven't seen Turner fight that level yet.
Longer limbs are more vulnerable to isolation. You got a little bit more runway before you hit the knee or before you hit the elbow.
True.
You know, where you need to secure your submission, it's you got a little bit more leniency with that, I suppose. I can't really think of the best way to put it right now. I'm sick as fuck. Fuck you. But
we're both picking Gamrot, I think is the point.
Yeah.
I don't see him losing 2 in a row. Takes us to the card opener. Debutant, Bo Nickel. The man said he will never be on the prelims. He is getting his wish, making his debut on one of the biggest cards of the year. Gotta say, respect to the man's confidence, packing the pressure on himself. Doesn't seem to feel it at all. He's fighting Jamie Pickett. When we talk about Bo Nickel as a prospect, there's prospects and there's prospects. This guy, I don't think his college team lost a wrestling match whilst he was there.
No, he's a wrestling phenom.
Yeah.
Also, his Contender Series debut was so quick and so dominant, and only the second fight in his career that Dana said,
"We're gonna do one.
Fuck
more.
it, yeah, run it back." And again, so quick, so dominant. I think there's about a minute's worth of footage
on him fighting in total.
Yeah, on Fight Pass.
So what we know is that he's a 5-star level athlete who's one of the best wrestlers that we've ever seen come into mixed martial arts based on his wrestling pedigree, and at bare minimum has supreme knockout power in his right hand. This guy could be the fucking American Khabib of middleweight. But
score 1 for the Gingers.
But
I'm not being racist.
The UFC is a huge step up. I don't think Jamie Pickett is a huge step
I was about to fucking qualify that one.
Jamie Pickett is a really good athlete. He's big, he's strong, particularly when he fights at middleweight. He's not a polished striker.
He's not bad. Feels like fodder.
It's not that it's fodder. It's that he needs to be able to wrestle and kind of hit guys once and then clinch them and use his size. Like, that's how Jamie Pickett wins fights. And there is no situation where I see him being able to hold Bo Nickel and wrestle him up against the cage. I see Bo Nickel fucking him up really badly.
Do you think he gets outside the first round?
Potentially, because I don't think Jamie Pickett. He's had a few fights in the UFC. It's not a great record, but he's experienced. He'll know that he's up against somebody that's knocking everybody out, and if he's really smart, he might just be defensively responsible, not look to do anything stupid, maybe burn him out. But then if he does that, he's probably getting taken down and ground and pounded. So, I'll say. If you would say a round and a half, I'd say under.
Yeah.
Around, maybe not, but no, I think, and very possibly it's a minute.
I'm thinking first round, to be honest.
It could be first 10 seconds, mate.
Yeah.
You never know. But it's exciting. He's on the start of the main card for a reason. He's there to get the fights going, kick things off with a bang, and I think he does.
Nice. You know what? From here on out, I'm pretty interested to see how your picks go.
These were hard, man.
They get closer now.
These were really hard. For all of you betting at home, there's a couple of names that I'm picking, and all I'll say is, don't put money on them.
Yeah,
Speaking of
don't
which,
put money on the prelims. Full stop is my opinion.
segueing into the return of Cody Garbrandt at bantamweight. Thank God, taking on. Wait, no, not Julio Arce. Taking on Trevin Jones.
Yeah.
This is a better fight for Cody Garbrandt. This is the level he probably should be bouncing back to. Here's the issue. If you lose now, that's it. It's over. It's done. You can't.
Yeah, but
You can't recover from losing to Trevin Jones. You can't. That's you can't be a UFC champion and then lose to Trevin Jones. That can't be your reality. And I'm worried for Cody because he's not that hard to knock out these days.
And Jones has got power. 5 stars, got some fucking heat in his hands.
And he's got power all the way through the fight, as long as he doesn't smoke weed and get fucking disqualified afterwards. Like,
in his defense, he took that fight on 2 or 3 days' notice.
I'm not saying it's anyone's fault. I'm just saying that the guy can knock you out in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Cody should win this, man. Like, the true Cody is a fast elite boxer who has got rapid hands, good athlete, can knock guys out, on his day can have a high fight IQ, and it's just gone completely. It's like him and Darren Till should have a conversation and should both see the same therapist. They should like figure this out. They're just like, we used to be good. What happened? Where did this all go wrong? I'm picking Cody Garbrandt because I have to pick, like, he's not old. Even in his last bantamweight loss against Rob Font, which was a decision loss to be fair, he actually took a lot of damage in this fight, and his chin looks okay. He still showed a lot of ability. He just fought a guy that was fighting really well,
Yeah.
and better than him on that point. I don't see Trevin Jones bringing anything, but how compromised is the chin? Didn't look good against Cara France, but that was flyweight. Just going back to bantamweight, alleviate that. It seems better when he fought Rob Font. Is confidence going to be a factor? You know, if something goes wrong in the fight, is it all going to start going through his mind? I'm picking Cody, but I'm fucking nervous about it, man.
Well, yeah, I think more than anything, if the fight starts going wrong, Cody gets to being reckless, which plays into Jones's wheelhouse. But I've just got to be sensible here and pick Garbrandt. Jones is capable of underwhelming. Garbrandt's a former champion of this division. Just it shouldn't be close, really.
He's the better fighter. It should be that simple. Although it never is in MMA, as we all know. On to a fascinating clash at middleweight. Derek Brunson taking on the rising Dricus Duplessis. I did a horrible job. Dricus Duplessis. That was better. Still not correct though. One guy kind of sliding down, aging on. The other guy looking to shoot up. And an interesting clash of styles. A year ago I would have said Derek Brunson without a question. I think that wrestling is hard to deal with until you come up against it. I think the way that Duplessis strikes, I think leaves him susceptible to being taken down.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this when he was on his whole Blonde Brunson undefeated stage. There was like a nice simplicity, almost a little bit like what you could say like Glover Teixeira was doing on his title run, where it's like all the fat, all the risk, all the stuff that was getting you in trouble, you strip all of that away, you make it a little dull, but focused on what your best skill set is. Getting in, taking guys down, and working from there. And, you know, it just all went wrong in the Cannonier fight. I don't know if it was a bad weight cut. I kind of feel like Brunson's energy and like the pre-fight media was a bit off, saying I've only got 2 fights left.
Well, yeah, I mean he's pretty much 40 now, right?
He's getting on, but it kind of felt like he just exhausted in that fight. And after round 1, it was just there's nothing else there. It was done after that first round. I'd like to pick Derek Brunson, but I've got to pick Duplessis. I think he's got a submission threat. He's a strong athlete. He hits really hard. And I do just kind of feel like either he catches Brunson and hurts him, or he gets past the first round and a half and Brunson kind of wears himself out and gets a little tired and gets caught in something. maybe even like a guillotine, going for a lazy takedown.
It's possible. I mean, to be honest, I just think Brunson's just a little long in the tooth, and Duplessis' whole Elias Theodorou on crack approach to MMA is very difficult to deal with if you're not young, hungry, and full of violence. So Brunson has every chance of winning this fight. I just found it hard to pick him on paper here. He surprised me plenty of times before. All luck to him. I'm going double DP.
Double DP, very nice. So we're pretty actually set on this. I think the only difference we've had so far is the main event.
Yeah, well, we're only 2 into the prelims.
True.
So,
well, next up is a really good fight. We've got Amanda Hebas, back at flyweight, taking on Viviane Araújo, more established at flyweight. 2 Brazilians, both well-rounded, slightly different approaches and styles. Hebas obviously a bit more of a jiu-jitsu ground judo fighter, a bit more aggressive. Araújo, a bit more of a striker. How do you feel about Hebas at flyweight? Because against Chukagian she did really good, but she lost the fight. And I still kind of feel like she's a bit... She's tall and she's lanky, but I don't know if she's got the right frame for 125. I don't know if her game best suits it.
I think she's probably better at strawweight. I'm still picking her for this fight, though.
I'm also picking her for this fight.
You motherfucker.
See, I've got them all marked out as well with little red lines, so you know that
I'm not accusing you of. Well, you pick first. I can't really accuse you of anything.
Araújo's 36. I think she's beatable. I think there's lots of. I think she's a tough out for anybody, but I don't think she's good enough at any one area to be outstanding. And
she's decent enough though that we both didn't know how the other one was going to pick. Let's put it that way.
True. But I think Hebas has got more potential. I think the judo is a lot higher level. I think her jiu-jitsu is a lot higher level. I think she's more aggressive with her striking, although I don't think she's particularly technical. That's the only way I can see Hebas losing this, is just being overly aggressive, charging in for something with her chin up and just getting cracked a little bit like she did against... oh my god, what's her name? Rodriguez, yeah. Marina Rodriguez. Aside from that, I just feel if this gets in the clinch, as long as the weight difference isn't too much of a factor, I don't know if Hebas has been moving to flyweight permanently and maybe she's put more weight on. I think she's got this. I think she can. I think she's just a more technical grappler.
Yeah.
Which takes us to Julian Marquez. The Cuban Missile Crisis is back, taking on Marc-Andre Barriault. You feel like these guys are basically the same fighter?
They're cut from the same cloth.
I feel like Barriault is more well-rounded, less fun, and more disciplined. And I think he's going to win this. I think he's just going to grind Marquez out.
I think Marquez, despite it not really being his wheelhouse, is the more agile athlete here and has plenty of power to match Barriault's aggressive lack of defense. So I'm going Marquez.
Way, we've got another bit of separation.
Fucking finally.
Holy shit. Okay, 4 fights to go. Ian Gary.
I think we're probably going to go the same way on this.
He's taking on Kenan Song. We don't need to break any suspense. I think we're both picking Ian Gary.
We're both picking Ian Gary.
Mana Martinez taking on...
How can you pick against the future?
Living in the past if you do. Mana Martinez taking on Cameron Simon. What's your pick?
Love Mana Boy, bro, but like I'm going Simon. So
yeah, Simon as well. I'm a sucker for an undefeated record. 2 fights left. Jessica Penne taking on Tabitha Ricci.
Again, huge Penne fan, but I'm picking Ricci.
Yeah, exactly the same here. The shark is coming. And I already know what you're picking on this one. Basharat over Damon Blackshear. Not even a question about that.
So you got 2 picks separate.
And, well, there's one more fight.
Oh, fuck.
Kamwela Kirk taking on Esteban Ribovics. I'm going to be honest, I don't know either of these guys particularly well. I've seen Kirk fight before. Don't remember it well. I'm going Ribovic.
I'll go Kirk.
3 bits of separation. Nice.
I'll go
I'm
Kirk
being
to
left
my
hanging
list.
and it's so embarrassing because you're recording this.
Soz.
That is the card. What is your most, obviously aside from the title fights, what fight are you looking forward to most?
Let's have a little think here. I mean,
Do this. Do favourite non-title fight on the card, and then say your favourite fight on the prelims.
oof. I'm a huge Rachmanov fan, but I'm kind of jacked to see Bo Nickal's debut proper, so I'm going to go Nickel Pickett. And on the prelims, oof, there's a lot of good fights. I don't know. I kind of want to see what Ian Gary's going to do, so I'm going to go with the Gary fight.
Okay. My favourite fight on the card, non-title fight, is Rachmanov versus Jeff Neal. I think that's the highest level fight that doesn't have a title on the line. And on the prelims, okay, the fight that I have the most emotional regard to is Cody Garbrandt versus Trevor Jones, because I just don't fucking know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like it could be really significant. Like, I think if Cody Garbrandt loses that, we're going to see some gloves left in the octagon.
Possible.
If he wins it, we're going to see a guy crying a lot and hugging Joe Rogan, and we're going to get him all talking about how hard it's been, but he's back now, and all the rest. So I think it's going to be a standout moment. Either way. Watch it just be like a horrific, like, no one strikes. Just terrible. Just like... Well, I suppose we used to call it a Derek Lewis versus Ngannou. You now call it a Escala Esparza versus Rose 2.
Do you know what? You'd really have to drill down to find out which fight was worse.
Oh no! The Esparza versus Rose is worse. It took
versus the expectation.
No, because it was 2 rounds longer. And at least with the Ngannou Lewis fight, there was the impression that, like, even getting through to that last round and those last few minutes, you at least thought we might get a spectacular finish. It still only takes one. Whereas with Esparza Rose, it was just the slow realization that this was what you were watching. It just wasn't going to happen. The fight wasn't going to happen. There would be no end. It was this. This was it. Whoever won or lost was going to feel confused and disappointed.
It's just, I remember before Ngannou Lewis, there was these conversations about how this was going to be the most violent fight, pound for pound, PSI, that you could possibly envisage. And that was the worst fight that ever happened. So I understand your argument for Esparza and Namajunas too, but like, no one was hyping that as like the most dangerous fight. Like, if ever there was a chance someone was going to die in the octagon, it's tonight. And then it's the worst fight that ever happened. Just, no one knew that Stipe could give a motherfucker PTSD on that level. We didn't know. And obviously, like, Derek Lewis threw out his back immediately. It's just like circumstance. But we didn't fucking know. People were talking about it. Like, it was going to be the closest thing to, like, just pure fucking deadly violence you could ever fucking see in your lifetime.
Yeah,
and then what you got was what fucking happened. Like, the juxtaposition was unreal.
What I love about the UFC, though, in comparison to when you get terrible fights in boxing, is because I've seen, I don't know if that's still, like, a bad fight in boxing can be really fucking hard to watch. But in boxing, they'll still have all the commentators desperately try and tell you what a good fight it is. I love the fact that in the UFC, they literally just like, nah, this fight's bullshit, man.
Oh yeah, like, the commentary was just complete fucking jokes. It was just so disrespectful. You couldn't do that in the fucking Apex these days. Like, no. If you're commentating like that, you get your fucking ass kicked. For real.
Can you just imagine you getting your ass kicked in the Apex? And it's also so bad, and all you can hear is fucking Michael Bisping in DC just going on, just like, oh my god, he's so shit.
Yeah. Or
But
even
do you
just
not
like the
feel
way
that-
Joe Rogan was slagging him off, and then just imagine doing the interview afterwards is like, yo, I heard everything you fucking said, you know.
But dude, that happened. William Knight, when he fought the other week, and just didn't do anything against Marcin Prachnio. They were saying it as it was on the broadcast. That was in the Apex. He would have heard them. Yeah, he was cut.
That's a little different than saying that shit about Ngannou, you know what I mean? But anyway,
This is true.
yeah, him cut, Jordan Wright cut. There's been a lot of good cuts recently.
Jordan Wright needed to be cut. That's for his own health.
Yeah.
I said it. He's never gone to a decision before. He kind of looked he was
Never got out of the first round before.
Yeah. He honestly, I think he knew
with a lot of losses.
I think he knew it was going to be his last fight, and he was just like, "Hey, I made it to the bell. That's nice. Now I can go away."
I love how, for a guy that's never fucking been there, how immediately he was like just doing the old classic like coachable things, like put your hands in the air, pretend you won the fight, try and sway the judges in that third round. Like, it's like, oh, bro, God bless you. God bless you, because you're dumb as fuck.
Oh, well. Well, on that note, I think that is our show for today. Guys, it's a massive card coming up. Enjoy it. Like the video.
Leave your picks in the comments.
Leave your picks. Place your bets wherever you want. Don't use our picks as advice because we never get 100% of them right. So
listen to the bit where we said don't bet on the prelims. Listen to that bit for sure.
That's definitely smart
You can
advice.
make plenty of good money on the main card. Be sensible.
Have a good week, guys. Take care. Bye, Dave. Bye, Laurie. Bye, Trifo.
Bye, Laurie. Bye, Dave.